On up.
Thanks.
You betcha. You guys comfortable? Have some water? All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the NWSL Championship Preview Press Conference here at Providence Park in Portland, Oregon. My name is Ann Schatz, and I have the good fortune of calling the home stream matches for the Portland Thorns. And obviously, on behalf of the organization and the entire City of Roses, we're delighted to have you here today in attendance and, of course, watching on YouTube. Welcome. Tomorrow's title rematch between Seattle and FCKC has a familiar ring to it. All the makings of another classic between these two championship clubs. The Blues obviously out to defend their title. Seattle out for a little revenge. Both clubs will be well represented at today's gathering, with coaches and players from both teams on hand to answer your questions and your thoughts on the title match. So let's get started. Starting with, of course, the Seattle Reign. Regular season champs for the second consecutive year. A monster season, 13-3-4. And keep in mind that two of those losses came in the month of April. Do the math. 41 goals, tops in the league. 21 goals allowed, second only to the Blues. They ran away with that Shield title, going 7-0-1 down the stretch. Of course, included in that was the monster win in the semifinals, very, very dominant. The Reign, immensely talented, deep, and an absolute blast to watch. So it's a pleasure to have some of Seattle's finest with us today. Two-time NWSL Head Coach of the Year honoree Laura Harvey, and one of the league's top players, midfielder Jess Fishlock. I'll throw out the opening questions to both players, or both representatives, and then open it up to questions for all of you. And when you do ask the question, please remember to identify yourself and the affiliate who you are with. All right, Coach, another fantastic season. Another monster season. Consecutive regular season titles. And I'd love your thoughts on, obviously, another shot at the Blues Club. And the quote that you gave recently, that there's a different mindset in the club this year that wasn't there last year. Could you kind of give us a little bit of a tell on that?
Yeah, I think last year was a very unknown for us. You know, first time we were in the playoffs, first time we'd been to a semi-final, first time we'd been to a final.
Okay.
And you don't really know what the feeling's going to be like if either of those isn't successful. And I think prior to the final, we really wanted to win the final, but I think a little part of us was very satisfied with the fact that we turned such a nightmare of year one into such a successful year two. But until that final whistle in the final, I don't think any of us appreciated how disappointed we would be by not winning the final. And I think that's meant that the mindset is different this year, more focused, more driven, wanting to make sure that when it comes to the game, we put everything out there to make sure that we win it. And if that gives us that extra little bit of edge tomorrow, then I think we'll look back on it and say that that bit of experience of last season has done as well going into this season. So we'll find out tomorrow if that's right or wrong.
All right. Thank you, Coach. And joining Coach Harvey, of course, the mild-mannered Jess Fishlock. Truly one of the most dynamic players in the league. Jess, one of the things that the Reign players keep talking about, no matter if it's a group setting or if we talk to you individually, is how loyal and how close and the buy-in of every single player on this team to Laura Harvey and her system and the city and the crest on your chest. Could you help us understand what that feels like as an individual and collectively to feel so connected to a team?
I think it's going to be hard for me trying to explain that unless you're in the environment that we've kind of, Harvey has created. But it is an environment. I think a lot of it comes from the first year. You know, I mean, we had a rough time. You know, I think everyone knows that. But you know, I think what it was we never really doubted us, even throughout that time. We never doubted who we were and what we wanted to be, and we knew that we would get there. We just needed a little bit of time. And I think everyone who was involved in that and everyone who we've brought in, we have been successful, and you read the stats there, and we score goals and we play well, but we haven't always done that, which is why we savor every last goal that we score. We celebrate it as if we have won the Super Bowl, because the first year we struggled, and we don't forget that first year. Every time we talk about who we are and where we've come from and what we want to be and the personalities that we want in our club, it all stems from that first year and who we are, and that has never changed, and it never will. I hope we continue to be successful. I hope that I'm still here when we continue to do that, but we will never forget where we did come from and what we've built. And I think everyone who comes in our team, whether they were a part of that or not, they understand that that's where it all comes from. And I think when you have something like that, it's very difficult to replace, and you feel extremely loyal to that.
Awesome. All right, let's open it up to all of you in attendance. Questions and thoughts for these two. And Jess, when you're answering that question, belly up a little bit, my friend. There you go.
Sorry.
All right, you're good. Yes, please.
Dan, a letter from Equalizer. Jessica, talking about trying to hold on to the feelings from the first season. How do you kind of incorporate that in with new players coming into the team who were not there, especially those who just came this year and come to a team that won the regular season last year?
Well, we have a big core still from that first year, and so we kind of, I wouldn't say we don't keep anybody in check or anything like that, but we make people realize that it has never always been, about winning 3-0 in semi-finals, I mean, we were so far off the semi-final the first year and you just bring people in, and it's just the way that we train and the respect that we have for each other is always incorporated in it. And, we will always hold on to that first year. And we will, because it makes us who we are. It makes us humble. It makes us, be successful, but also still want to strive to be successful. Because when you experience something like that, and you have so many people still here who did that, then what they bring is that humility, really, to what you want to achieve. And then you bring that trust and loyalty and the right respectful attitude that everyone should have in any professional team.
Please.
Laura with Fox Soccer. For Jess, can you just talk about coming overseas and starting to develop a league here in the U.S. and the kind of pioneering feeling you might have, and also maybe the financial sacrifices? Talk about what it's like to help grow this league.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think the NWSL is a great league. I think where it is now and to where it was is huge, And I've grown with the rain throughout those periods too, so there's two separate kind of feelings that I have. And I think everything that the league is doing, it's growing it in the right way, and it's about development as much as anything else. And so, to be honest, I didn't have a financial sacrifice really, because back in England it was like semi-pro, trained twice a week, have a job on the side. I don't have to worry about that. I'm here, I'm full time, I have my money. I'm training, I'm just focusing on my football. And around that, I have a team that supports me in every single possible way that I could want or imagine. And so, when you're in that environment, you will happily do what you can to help grow a league so it is sustainable, but also eventually it will give women, a good platform to be a little bit better than what we have right now, but everything starts somewhere, and I think the growth that the NWSL is having right now and the direction it's going, especially because what the girls did in the summer was just phenomenal, and so you go off the back of that, and I think the league is in a really, really, really good place, and I will do everything in my power to help sustain it and develop it.
Michael at KBTV. we're the local Fox affiliates. We're kind of wondering, playing in Portland, not that far from Seattle, do you feel like this is going to have kind of a home game feel for you guys? Had lots of fans from Seattle coming down the interstate.
Probably not. No, I think yes. I think hopefully the fans from Seattle have been able to get that bit of time off work that they might have needed to make the game tomorrow. I think being midweek could be tough for some of the fans, but you know, I'm hearing a lot of our fans are trying to make the game, which is great. But I think for the majority of the fans that will be Portland fans, I can't imagine that they will necessarily want a Seattle win, which we're okay with. That's fine. But I just think it will be a great occasion. Just before I walked in, I saw a figure of between 10 to 12,000 fans already, which is phenomenal. It's great. It's what we want the league to be. It's what we want to try and make the final an event, and I think it is that. I mean, the people who maybe were around last year for the final, it was just like another game because we didn't have a lot of time to prepare for that. Maybe 6 days or whatever it was. So from a media standpoint, if people needed to come across the country, or from a fan standpoint, getting across the country or anything like that, it would have been really difficult. Whereas this time, there's been a lot of time between the semi and the final for everyone to prepare for what should be a fantastic occasion tomorrow. And yeah, we'd love as many supporters pushing for the rain as possible, but we're okay if Portland fans don't want us to win.
Yeah, please, Dan.
Laura, we talked outside about trying to stop Holiday and Rodriguez.
Yeah.
How much of a key is not letting Heather O'Reilly get into a rhythm and letting them stretch the game wide?
I think for Kansas, they've got a lot of fantastic players. They are where they are in the league, and they have a chance of regaining the championship for a reason. They're a fantastic side, and I think Heather's added to that this year. But I think it's all about prevention. Any team that we play, our philosophy is prevention is better than cure. And it's not just one individual's responsibility to stop her. It's numerous players' responsibility to try and affect the amount of time she can get the ball in the areas that you don't want her to. Same with A-Rod and Holiday. And Tim Rack, for that matter. I think they're all dangerous. They're all players that you would assume in any given game can change the game very quickly. And I think that's why these two teams are so exciting to watch. Is they probably would say the similar thing about us. It's not about stopping one, it's about stopping the collective. And that's why I think our games are always fantastic things to watch, because they're a little bit of chess, trying to prevent each other from getting the players that you wouldn't necessarily want going near your goal. And I think Heather definitely falls into that bracket for Kansas, for sure.
Thanks, Laura.
I've got a quick question for both you guys. We had the luxury of talking to some of you on the pitch before training, and little things become big things in a championship match.
Yeah.
Coach, you talked about the goals given up to Kansas City last year that weren't a typical situation for your defense to give up those kinds of goals. If you guys could both talk about little things becoming very, very big things in a high-stakes match like this, that would be great.
Well, I say it all the time. I think goals change games, and if you watch that game back from last season, they scored at really critical times in the game. We were really on top before they scored the first goal, and then we had a lot of momentum straight after they'd scored, and we couldn't capitalise on that. And if I truly believe if we had have done that, then I think the scoreline might have been different. And then once they scored the second, then we had to really push and open ourselves up a little bit to being a bit more open, and still kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and the longer it went, they dropped deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's all about goals. Goals just change the momentum of a game in a split second, and that was definitely the case of last year's game for sure.
Jess, your take on that?
Yeah, I think, goals do change games, and I completely agree with that. I think the game tomorrow will honestly be who is actually better without the ball when they have the ball. If you can work that one out, good luck. But and I think both teams are very good at that, and so it'll be a case of who does that better. That's what I think the game tomorrow will come down to, because both teams have great attacking forces and great defensive forces, and so I think without the ball, with the ball is the key to tomorrow.
I like that.
You're gonna steal that, aren't you? I knew you are.
Use that.
Yeah, thought so.
Oh.
Oh, sorry to keep you here. One more.
You good?
Can you just talk, Coach, about when you knew you wanted to be a coach? I mean, I know you're a player, but what was it? Was there a moment or just a thing, or you just said, I want to do this?
I was quite young, really. I think in coaching terms, I was probably still in my teens when I thought that I enjoyed it, and I was never good enough as a player, really. So that enabled me to focus on it a little bit earlier, really. And then I got injured and blah blah. But yeah, I was really fortunate that I came out of college and got a full-time job coaching within the local area at the time. And I was given opportunities to work with some high-level players at a really young age, at youth level and adult level. And the moment that I started to do that, I really thought that that was something that suited the way I was, more than necessarily working with the younger kids and developing them. I felt more comfortable in that environment. So that was something that I thought straight away would be the job I would really like. But I wasn't necessarily sure at the time if that could be something I could necessarily get, because the opportunities within England there wasn't many full-time jobs coaching at that level around. So I had to keep working at the different levels to make ends meet, really, and then got a great opportunity getting a full-time job at Arsenal, and then the rest's sort of history.
Where was the club? Where was the original job?
In Birmingham, in the city of Birmingham, yeah, working for the council at the time and the local FA, working at that.
Fish, let me ask you this. Coach could barely get herself to watch a replay of last year's match. Mm-hmm. And it only happened recently that she could get through the first 30 minutes, all right? In the locker room, away from the coaching staff, just you guys in the clubhouse, how much did you talk about last year? How much is that in the forefront of people's minds, your teammates' minds, in terms of what happened last year and wanting to, make sure that doesn't happen again? Or was it, hey, that's last year, this is a new club, let's not be thinking too much about 2014?
Yeah, to be honest, we've not really spoken about it.
Okay.
I would love to tell you that we did, and we've gone through it, but we haven't. We came back and we knew that we wanted to do what we did last year, but one better. But like Harvey says, there was a different mentality last year. To be honest, I was in the playoff situation, and I was like, I don't get why we're playing these games. Like, I don't get why we've won the league, we've done this, I don't get it. And, I didn't realize that until after, and then I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Okay, and then obviously when that happens and you go, okay, we're back now and we're just going to do it again, and then this time we're going to win. And I feel that was the mentality. I didn't get it. I don't think Kim fully got it. We didn't get why we were in this situation. And that's not, we just have never been in that situation before, like Harvey was saying, and so it is a different mentality, and we've not really spent that much time thinking about last year because, it's in the past, really.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Any more questions? All right, thank you both for joining us today, and obviously congratulations on another regular season championship, and good luck tomorrow. And for what it's worth, the governor of Washington has declared tomorrow National Rain Day. So there.
He did
There's
that
a
last year
motivator for
too,
you. Oh, he did? Jeez. Okay. I shouldn't have even brought that up. Fat lot of good that did you. Okay. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Al.
Coach.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Congrats on a great regular season. Have a seat. Leanne, how are you, my man? Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming today, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Great to have you. Okay, let's make sure everybody's ready. Good deal. And at this time, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome some of Kansas City's finest to the dais, Vlatko Andonovski and Captain Leanne Brown. And as we all know, the Blues are the defending NWSL champs, having beaten the Seattle Reign on the road last year. And I got to tell you, I think some fans around the league were wondering, as the season started, if the Blues would even make the playoffs. I mean, it was a 3-5-2 start to this club, the defending champions, and folks were thinking, what the heck? But all that talent, the cream rose to the top. And I mean, you roared down the stretch. You had a great 10-game stretch where things were going well. Had those 4 straight shutouts in August. You come in and you roll through the semis, and here we are. So, Coach, I'm going to ask you a question, then Leanne a question, then we'll open it up to the rest of the field. After the disappointing loss to the Thorns in 2013 in Kansas City, your mantra last year was finish it. Finish it. You left a lot of points on the table last year and lost that semifinal game to the Thorns as well in your backyard. Your club did that and then some with that victory over the favored Reign in the finals. So what is the mantra this year? If last year it was finish it, what's the mantra this year?
This year is repeat.
That simple?
Yes. If the first one was finish it, actually after the first one was finish it, after the second one repeat, and I guess after the third one will probably be rebuild.
Well, we'll hold you to that, right? And one of the real iron women of the league is Blues defender Leanne Brown. Now, formerly Leanne Robinson. When was the wedding?
Last weekend.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So this playoff thing worked nicely for you.
This gap was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice. Congratulations. Leanne, both clubs come into the rematch with some signature defenses. Some of the experts and critics give the advantage to the Blues, and you guys have delivered the goods big time. You did it last year against Seattle, just letting that goal in at the very end, and then the flurry, you slammed the door. What are the little things that become so important for your defense in this high-stakes game?
I mean, I guess all the small details. You know, we have two.
Such as?
Well, we have 2 center backs that are phenomenal. I mean, obviously just veteran center backs that make me and Becca's jobs a lot easier. But just always covering for each other. You know, one of the things Vlatko's been drilling into us a little bit is expect the worst, but prepare for the best, right? So we always have to work behind each other. You know, sometimes being next to Amy, I'm like, nah, she's got it. But we have to just prepare for it just in case. So I think that's really what we've been focusing on the last couple weeks.
Sounds good. All right, let's open it up to questions now, and please, the same rally, identify yourself and who you're affiliated, please, with. Thank you. Jamie?
I'm Jamie Colbert with the Oregonian. I was just wondering about your perspectives with Lauren being such an important part of this team. How much is it, winning it would be kind of for her and her retirement? How much is that coming into play in your minds?
I think the team is putting a little bit of pressure on themselves. You know, maybe not as much known to her, but I mean, she's obviously an amazing person, not just an amazing soccer player. So to help her go out on top twice is ideal for the entire team.
Like Leanne said, we try not to talk a lot with Lauren or around Lauren about how much we'll miss her, and she's actually playing her probably last game, or not probably, but she's playing her last career game. But it's in everybody's mind, and we keep thinking about it. And I know as a coaching staff, we talk about it and keep thinking about it, that it will be very cool to send Lauren off with a good win.
A letter from Equalizer. Leanne, it seemed like every time there was a change in the team with players going out for the World Cup, even coming back from the World Cup, there was a little bit of struggle. As someone who played every minute of the season, can you just reflect on the ups and downs of the season as players went in and out?
Yeah, I think in general, Vlatko's kind of always joked that we have kind of a lackadaisical demeanor. You know, we joke around and stuff, and I think we just had to make sure when they left and came back that we kept consistent. And I think, that's one of the struggles when you lose 4 of your best players, is to keep everybody hyped up and working hard. And, you can't replace them, but to try and bring everybody in to create that. And I think it's a struggle, and it was for us this year. And, you saw it on the field a little bit, which is very frustrating. But I think by the time, when the time was right, we were starting to finally cohesively all build together, which has worked out for us so far.
Coach, when you did start at 3-5-2, you're under 500, and Leanne, you as well. The mood in the locker room, obviously not to panic, but to make sure that you were playing FC Kansas City soccer, and things slowly started building towards the right direction, and then boom, you took off. What was the feeling back then when you were struggling a little bit?
One thing that I kept reminding myself first and foremost before I talked to the players was that the year we won, or last year when we won on April 27, we were last place on the standings. And in fact, it happened this year. We were last place in the standings after a few games, and that was something that, like I said, I kept reminding myself that it's possible, that we can do it. And when things were not going well, in fact, in one of the meetings we had, I made sure that the players understand that it's my fault. I didn't want them to point fingers at each other. I wanted them to focus on the game. I believed in their qualities and what they can do, and they proved it.
Leanne, the feeling in the locker room when the staff wasn't around, when you were struggling a little bit, was there a person or two or three or four that just kind of collectively said, hey, it changes right now?
Yeah, and Vlatko would come in and try and take blame for it, but at the end of the day, we knew it was us. We knew it was the product on the field. So, yeah, there's a couple of us who got into a couple people and, tried to bring out the best in everybody, and I think that's just what a team does. So,
Dan?
Blacko, everyone's talking about Amy and Lauren as keys for you guys to win, but how important is it for Heather and Erica to be involved offensively and spread the field on their midfield?
It's very important. They're a very creative player, and I think that with Amy and Lauren, Erica, and Heather, all 4 of them can change a game. With one thing, with one move, and I think that's one of the things that will make a difference in the final. Because both teams are very good. They're very disciplined. They're very organized. It will come down to one little thing, whether it's individual brilliance or a restart or a small little mistake.
Mm. Can you guys talk a little bit about Nicole Barnhart? Obviously, the edge from a name standpoint goes to Hope Solo. Obviously, the edge in terms of World Cup prominence goes to a Hope Solo. But here's Barnhart, who's been in the system, has played big-time games, seems to lead the league in shutouts every single year. Especially you, Leanne. Maybe Nicole's got a little, I'm not going to say she's got a chip on her shoulder, but she's got to be aware of the fact that on occasion she plays second fiddle.
Yeah, it's funny, Barney just never really talks about that stuff. She literally is a silent warrior on and off the field. She comes in, she gets her work done, and so it's honestly never come up, which I'm sure, girls on our team are like, yeah, are you fired up, or, whatever, and she's just like, I'm good. She's just...
Can you get fired up for her? Can you guys take it on a little bit?
Oh, yeah. She, without saying anything, our back line, she brings confidence to our back line, and I think that we do get fired up for her because sometimes we want her to stand up for herself, and so we help her.
Vlatko, can you weigh in on that?
Yes, absolutely. Barney is a true leader by example. She's not someone that will get in someone's face to get them going or talk. Or she just comes in and works so hard that when you watch her, it makes you work even harder. And I think that it reflects to our defenders. They want to do good for Barney.
Yes, please.
Hey, Jen Helder, Fox Sports. Leanne, I'm going to have to ask you about the wedding a little bit because I just don't, first of all, I think scheduling might have been difficult enough, just trying to stay sharp, stay focused for soccer.
Yeah.
To add wedding planning into the mix. How was that for you, and maybe how big of a sigh of relief are you now that it's done?
Yeah, it was awesome. Everything turned out unbelievable. It was in San Diego. Sunset was gorgeous. Everything worked out great. I was actually just telling Vlatko, I think it might have been a little easier not being there, to sort of just make decisions and move on. And I picked all my vendors by a 20-minute phone call. And it was sort of like if I clicked with them on the phone, we were good. And if I didn't, I moved on. So for a girl, I think it actually went very quick and easy. So but it was awesome.
A lot of your teammates come?
A few. The national team players obviously were at the victory tour, so some of them couldn't make it, but Buzzy came, so Jen Buskowski, Erica, and Apple, Sarah Hagen.
Are you guys okay being the underdogs again? You won it last year, and you weren't favored last year. You won it. You're not favored again this year. I don't know if that's a motivator or not, or again something that just let the media talk about it.
You know, we try not to think about it. I mean, quite honestly, Seattle deserves to be the favorite in this game. They clear house again, have an unbelievable roster, great coach, great organization. They deserve that. They deserve to be favored. But in the same time, like you said, we were underdog last year. We made it happen. So we don't mind being underdog this year, as long as we win at the end.
Leanne, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of same. I think, being an underdog, there's definitely like an extra fire lit under you a little bit. Obviously, they won the league 2 years in a row.
Mhm.
Like, they're our biggest and toughest opponent. So I think for us to be successful, like he said, we don't really think about it. We just go out and try and play our soccer.
Yes, please.
Megan Cleary, Post America. Can you talk a little bit about the atmosphere that's anticipated tomorrow? Just playing so far away from home, you have a really strong supporters group in Kansas City. So what are you guys thinking about playing here?
I'm actually very excited. I mean, obviously it's a neutral site, and if we have to play Seattle, I would rather take anywhere but Seattle. And in fact, that we have a chance to play in Portland, where women's soccer is unbelievable supported, makes me even more excited. I think that the fans in this city deserve a good show, and I can promise nothing less than a good show tomorrow during the game.
Leanne, do you still get butterflies?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, do you get nervous before big matches?
Yeah. I don't tell the rookies that, but yeah. It just happens. I mean, it's normal, I think. I mean, especially tomorrow, like he said, playing in Portland is so ideal. And we actually have a lot of our supporters coming out. They're flying out, and like a lot of people's parents are coming. My new hubby's coming. So we're excited. I mean, it's a home away from home at this point. We got to make it that way.
Jamie?
Do you feel that you're going to get a decent amount of fan support from Portland, given that a lot of the Rose City Riveters have talked about rooting against Seattle?
I don't know.
No, we haven't talked about it or thought about it. Like I said, we focus on the game and how what can we do to win the game, and at the same time we want to represent our organization, our community, our city, and we want to put up a good show and build the women's soccer game. So not just the supporters that are on the field, that are on the stands, but also the ones that are watching on the TV actually see that the women's soccer, it's interesting game to be watched.
When you prepare for Seattle, obviously you can simulate a lot of really great things defensively. You can have your offense coming at you, and that's a really good offense that you can get locked down with defensively. Does that help you a little bit? Because when you're in training, your offense is coming at you, and it's one of the best in the leagues, obviously, and that helps you prep.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our trainings are always very intense, especially when we get split up sometimes into 5v5s, or like you said, offense against defense. I mean, it's heated. It's competitive. we get competitive.
Anybody else? All right, thank you so much, Coach. Thank you so much, Leanne. Really appreciate it. And on another terrific regular season, and best of luck tomorrow to repeat. Thank you for being with us. And thanks all of you for attending today, and for everything that all of you do on behalf of the league. We thank you deeply. Have a great one, everybody. See you tomorrow.